beautiful souls. My name is Eva, and this is my and right now I'm resonating with the title, if you will, although really none of us have like labels and stuff. We're all multifaceted and we're always evolving and changing. So this is just at this point in time what is resonating with me. But that would be an Aquarian soulpreneur and mystical guide. And I'm going to break these down just a little bit. So Aquarius, that is actually my sun sign in astrology. If there's any astrologists or astrology enthusiasts out there. And I resonate a lot with the energy of Aquarius, that visionary, the humanitarian, the like embracing uniqueness and kind of like paving my own path, kind of being like the oddball or the rainbow sheep in the family, and you know, just kind of going your own way. That's very much what I resonate with from like Aquarius energy, and so I have that as part of my official title. The other one, the soulpreneur part, that is essentially it's an entrepreneur that is heart-led, that who blends the mystical with the practical. And yeah, I love pursuing my business in this really unique way, in this way that feels good to me, and in like this custom tailored way that feels good to me. I follow my intuition, which I call inner magic. So if I throw around that word, just so you're aware, but I follow my inner magic a lot with my business and in general in my life every day. And we can dive way more into all of that a little bit later. But yeah, just kind of paving my own path with my business, and also leading from my heart. That's kind of how this whole thing started, and I will share more about that in a little bit. And then, so I call myself an Aquarian soulpreneur and mystical guide. And so I love all things mystical, magical. If you can't tell by how I'm dressed, this outfit really feels like me right now, with the fairy wing earrings and just all the lavender and lilac vibes. It's just, also like unicorn vibes, fairies, like all of that. I resonate with all that energy. I have a lot of fairy energy, and connect to those beings as guides as well. But mystical guide, so I am passionate about guiding people. The reason that I use the word guide versus coach or mentor is because a guide to me is someone who supports you on your path, who walks along the path with you, who celebrates you, who is there to support but honors your sovereignty. And sovereignty is, if you're not familiar, it's basically like autonomy. It's my belief is that we are all sovereign beings, so we're all here living the way that we desire. We are the creators of our life, and I will dive deeper into that as well in another video, because I have a lot to share on that piece. But yeah, guide just feels more the energy, the way that I show up. My goal is to support you in really empowering yourself. And empowerment is a word I came up with. Stems from the word empowerment, but I felt like empowerment just resonated so much deeply with me, because it means that that's coming from within you. And so when you inner power someone, it's like, yes, they can be inspired, but they feel it from like within, and then they run with that. And so my biggest intention with showing up, with the offerings I have, with the way that I am, the way I move through the world, is to really honor that, and support people and celebrate and uplift as much as I can. It's been such a wild journey, and so with that, I want to share the intention of this channel. And if you've been noticing, yes, I do have some notes in front of me, because I am known for, which you'll probably see sooner rather than later, I'm known for going on side roads as I'm talking about stuff. So I just have a few notes I've jotted down here to keep me on track. But I am going to be very like, just flow with whatever wants to be shared today, and share a little bit about my story and how I got to this point, so that we're all kind of on the same page, you know, a little bit of my background and the path that I've walked, and then we will get started with sharing about other exciting things that I want to share pertaining to this beautiful channel, this beautiful space that I want to call this like magical space. If you are someone who is starting on your spiritual awakening, or whatever you call it, honestly, any words I use that don't resonate with you, take what resonates and just leave the rest. That is something I tell everyone I speak to, from close friends to people I just met. That's like probably one of my most said phrases, honestly. And yeah, so yeah, that applies to all videos. Take what resonates, leave the rest, because I believe that along our path, we sometimes don't resonate with something, but then later down the path it resonates, or maybe it never will resonate for us, and that's okay, because all of our paths are so unique. And so it's important to pay attention to the things that are really catching our attention, because they're speaking to us for a reason. And maybe they're a clue or the next step, or they're part of the stepping stone that we need to get to wherever we're desiring to be. So you never know. And so that's kind of my approach with resonating. And back to the intention of this channel, as you can see, kind of went on that side road. But the intention of this channel is to share tips, tools, practices, my own experiences. I have explored so many different modalities in the spiritual, energy, mystical, healing space. Also a lot around like self-development, self-improvement, self-healing. Done a lot of that from Reiki. Started off with Reiki, through I'm certified as a hypnotherapist, and exploring some other modalities, but we will explore that a little further into another video. So anyway, back to the intention of this channel. The self-empowerment and healing is so important to me. I really hope that when you come here to this channel, it's kind of like this beautiful, magical getaway from areas in life that might not feel so magical. And I don't know, whatever reason you're coming to this channel, I hope that you are feeling uplifted, inspired, and empowered. Those are kind of like the core things that I really hope that it supports you with. I hope that you feel empowered and inspired to live life in your own unique way, to own your authenticity, your uniqueness, to just show up and just be who you are, because it's so cliche and we hear it all over the place, but it's really such an important part. And we'll dive deeper into it when I talk more about like energy stuff and our vibration. But yeah, so self-empowerment and healing, that's going to be anything like self-development, self-growth, leadership, like just kind of that's the umbrella that I came up with, the words that I felt like really emanated the vibration that I was trying to bring forth. We're going to be exploring the mystical, magical realms. So this is where like energy, consciousness, talking about souls, our journey here on earth, fairies, dragons, unicorns, spirit guides, like that whole realm. Like I said, I'll be sharing my own experiences as well as things that I've seen. And I hope that some of it, you learn, or you learn something new, or you're inspired to go explore something, or maybe you also explore and from my explanations, it seems like it's not something that you want to dive deeper into. The third area that I want to be bringing to this beautiful magical space is talking about soulpreneurship. So this is a journey that I started, I want to say 2 to 3 years ago. Officially have my business registered since last year, maybe even over a year now. And it has not unfolded the way that I thought, because I have this whole misconception. So quick mini story here. When I first started exploring, when I kind of like really got my spiritual awakening kick-started from another YouTuber, actually, Leora Alexandra. I can link her channel down below. It's lovely. Right now she's doing like energy reports, numerology. She still talks about spiritual stuff and self-development. But she's lovely. She was doing a lot, she was focusing a lot on like law of attraction, manifestation, and was a huge player in my spiritual awakening. And then I met my first mentor, and I thought that people who were spiritual, who were intuitive, it meant that like they knew everything and anything, and you, like, if you had these like deep things you were feeling, or you got mad at them, like I thought like they would like know all the time like what was happening with you and things of that nature. And I realized that that's not always the case. I mean, yes, maybe people who are more sensitive energetically or intuitive might be able to pick up that something is kind of feeling off in the energy in a relationship. However, we have so much going on in our lives that it's I feel like that was definitely a misconception I had when I first started exploring all of this. And I also, in the beginning, I started learning animal communication and got into that. And I thought that meant that I was going to be like talking to like all the animals, like, having my Snow White moment. And yes and no. I think that with intuition, what I want to say that I don't really hear often, that I think that is something that I've learned and experienced, is it really is like a muscle. It's something that you grow and you work with and you develop and you strengthen you cultivate that relationship with your body, with your inner magic, with your spirit team. And yeah, and it changes and evolves and shifts. And I mean, in the beginning, I was very visual. I was receiving messages very visually. And now it's more of a claircognizance where I just have a knowing, or I have a feeling, or I get a sense of like what the situation is, and then, you know, share it with the person, and then that resonates. So yeah, so it evolves, and we'll dive a little deeper into like intuition specifically in another video, because I do want to give it its own like space and really like dive deep in that with you guys. But yeah, we'll explore the mystical, magical realms. We will explore the soulpreneurship. So again, like I said, that is the heart-led, soulful approach, the owning and embracing your own unique way of business, of doing business how you want to do it. I really feel like we're shifting what I've been observing in various communities, and also hearing some other business soulful mentors and coaches talking about, is how we're shifting from, you know, like we've been given a formula, been given the steps, and then we follow A through D, and then we do that, and then we get the same result. And now there's a lot more of a focus on, how do I make this business feel good to me? How does it really express what I really want to express? How can I structure it so that the structure feels good for me, and it really complements and blends into my lifestyle, so it's not like I have to like work my life around my business, or vice versa, you know, where it's like it's harmonious. It's a harmonious part of our life. And also, like, if anything that I share, it, like I said, if it doesn't resonate, if that's not what you're trying to accomplish, that's no problem at all. You don't have to listen to it. You don't have to accept it. Again, I'm just sharing from what inspires me, and I trust that whoever is on the other side watching this is meant to hear it, and it will support them in some way. So thank you for being here. If you are really vibing with this and loving what I'm sharing. And the last, the fourth pillar that this channel is built on is embracing the humanness. So we are all on this human journey, and this human journey is so unique to each of us, and a lot of the times we actually move through some similar experiences to where we can really support one another, and we can move through things together. And as a community, when we unify, it actually it makes it a little more enjoyable, and I think it makes it also a little less scary to have that support system, to have people in your life that feel good to move through life with, and to have adventures. So sometimes the human part of us is frowned upon, but I'm really looking at what I'm doing in my own life is a honoring of all the sides of us, of, you know, like when people say body, mind, and spirit, I'm looking for the harmony, cultivating the harmony between all three. And that's kind of where like the humanness comes in, the part that maybe like did feel jealous, or the ego came out, or just was having a really shitty day. Like it happens to all of us. And I think that the more I learn to have compassion with myself and my own humanness, the more I'm able to have compassion for others moving on the journey. And I just feel like there's a Rumi quote that's so beautiful. It is, we are walking each other home. And to me, I haven't looked into like what he necessarily meant by that, but what resonates for me with that quote is we are on this journey together, and why not collaborate? And sometimes we have strengths where it's another person's weakness, or they just haven't developed that part, or they can learn from you. And like, I don't know, I just feel like there's so much value in sharing resources and unifying together in all of that. And so I also wanted to have a space here for talking about the humanness, talking about the parts that feel sticky, especially with my soulpreneurship journey, especially with the journey I've been on in developing my intuition in what I thought it would look like versus how things actually unfolded. And with healing, I mean, something that I've experienced multiple times is feeling like I'm on this like endless hamster wheel of healing, where it's almost like, oh my gosh, like when do I get like a break? When can I just like breathe? And then coming back to, oh yeah, I'm actually in charge of this. But when we're feeling those things, when we're in that story, it can be challenging to see a different perspective. And so I hope that through what I share here, I'm just gonna let it flow. And through what I share, I just want it to flow however it's meant to, and I trust that, again, like I said, whoever is meant to see this, whoever is meant to hear what I have to share and from my experience. And also something I do want to say, especially when it comes to the soulpreneurship part or like any of the intuitive things, and I will probably repeat this again when I create when I share that content and those experiences, but please just remember that these are just my experiences. And if through sharing my experience, you feel like there's a piece of the puzzle that clicks for your life, and you feel like there's something that I shared, or a resource that you found, or by all means, beautiful. And just remember that my experience may not look like your experience. And I just wanted to make sure that I'm highlighting that, because I personally have experienced moments where I've expected myself to go down the same path, for my journey to look the same exact way that I heard someone else's experience. Like, for instance, when someone is like trying to sell you on a course, and they say like, this person within like a month after doing this course manifested $100,000 or something like that, which is amazing. That is amazing. And like fully celebrating whatever is working for people, and whatever is however they're able to do it. And if that course or coach or whatever was able to support them, that's beautiful. And I also want to make sure to highlight, let's also recognize that just because that person, it happened that way for that person, does not guarantee that it's going to happen that way for us. And the only reason I'm highlighting this is not to discourage anyone from trying to do things and making it happen, but more so actually from preventing some disempowerment. So what I mean by that is when, for instance, with like that like 100K example, you know, when we hear that, we're naturally like, oh, like if that's something that we desire, more financial stability, then then yeah, that would seem very appealing. And then when we move through the course or work with the coach or do whatever the thing is that we're thinking like this needs to support me in whatever way, and we don't get the result, then what can happen, and what I've done in the past, is really beat myself down. And so that's why when I share my experiences, I do it with the intention of, I hope this is supportive for you and maybe inspirational or empowering or uplifting. And also, you know, again, like sharing that humanness part, I really want to make sure that it feels like I'm blending the spiritual, the mystical with the practical, and like grounding it down here on what is also happening on the earth realm and in the physical, because we live in the physical here through these beautiful vessels that we have in this game of life. So that is a little bit about who I am right now, who I'm being right now, and the intention of this channel. And so the last part of this video, I want to wrap it up with kind of my story of, and I'm sure I'll probably like elaborate deeper on this as I create more videos and share more on this platform. But for now, I will try to keep it pretty high level so that we don't go down too many rabbit holes. So I am originally born in Bulgaria, and I moved over to the US when I was 3 years old. So pretty much grew up in the US, visited Bulgaria back a few times, still have family there. And growing up, I will say I did feel different, and I didn't understand why. And now looking back, I can see how, and we'll dive deeper into this too with like the mind, and I'm so sorry if you all are like, oh my gosh, don't leave us hanging on like all these cliffhangers of like, we'll go deeper into this. But it's just for me to like keep like focused on the point of the story and not go into all the side roads, because we'll be here for 5 hours, I can promise you that. So growing up felt different, didn't really feel like I belonged, didn't have many long-term friendships, especially struggled with friendships with girls. And now I can understand why that is, when I look at it through the lens of like my relationship to the feminine versus the masculine. But yeah, so grew up in the States and went to high school and thought I had this desire to help people. And math was something that was a subject that was really, that my family was really proud of, and I also was pretty decent at it. I mean, some math classes more than others, but at one point I wanted to be a high school math teacher because I realized that when people said I hate math, it wasn't that they hated math, but they hated that they didn't understand it. And I thought, like, well, if I'm able to present this in a way that makes sense for someone, where they can actually get it, then they won't hate it, and then they can have a better relationship with it. And then ended up shifting to accounting because I was told that if I went to be a high school math teacher, that it was going to be really hard, that I wasn't going to be able to make money. I mean, I'm a millennial, so I feel like our whole generation kind of grew up with being told that about certain careers and professions, like anything that has to do with psychology or teaching. I don't know, you know, like there's definitely some stereotypes around certain career paths. So went into accounting because I didn't mind it that much, and I thought, like, okay, I can use my math skills and, you know, just figure it out. So I went to college for accounting, and I got my bachelor's and my master's in accounting. And then I was studying for the CPA. I got my master's mainly because I wanted to sit for the CPA, which is the exam that people take if they want to be a certified public accountant, which is like a very prestigious title and certification to have in that line, like that path of career. So during this time, as I was studying for the CPA, I had a few months where I was just studying. I had graduated from my master's, and then I had a few months before I started my job to focus solely on studying and get through the hardest part of the exam. And I had found this YouTuber, Lior Alexandra, and I was like binge watching all her videos on manifestation, on law of attraction, and just learning and feeling so inspired by this woman who was creating these YouTube videos and was talking about like how she was manifesting things in her life and was living this like really unconventional life, and it just seemed like whoa. But I started a morning practice where I would go and watch the sunrise, and I would meditate, and then I would go for a run or a walk around the park. And one morning I remember sitting out and looking out at the lake, and now I know that this was my inner magic, my intuition speaking to me. But back then I was still pretty new to the whole intuition thing and don't really know how to cultivate those skills and that part of myself, which, by the way, we all have intuition, we all have access to it. That's not something that some people are born with and others are not, because I hear that sometimes, and I just want to let you know, like, we're gonna go on a little side story here. So actually, when we're first born, and this is what I believe, so if this doesn't resonate, that's fine. When we come here, we come straight from the other side, the source, oneness, wherever we come from, wherever our home is for our actual soul, that divine part of us. We come here, and that's how children a lot of times will know, like, oh, like you did this, because they're actually so intuitive and in tune if that is not messed with, and they're not conditioned to believe that that's imaginary or it doesn't exist or what they're hearing isn't real and things like that. And where was I going with this? yeah, so I'm so sorry. I like, I kind of lost my train of thought. But basically, I, I could feel that I was at a point where I felt like I was kind of in a crossroads, like internally. I felt like I could either continue down this path, but I knew that I wasn't going to be happy. So I was questioning if that was the path I really wanted to take, if being a CPA, working for a firm, climbing that ladder was something that I wanted to do. And also, like, nothing wrong if that is something that someone desires, is just I had a moment where I really questioned if that was something that I wanted for myself, if that was really going to be something that I wanted to wake up to every single day and spend my time and energy and effort toward. So the other path was, I didn't know what it looked like, but I knew that I was interested in these like unconventional things like energy and spirituality and healing and like the metaphysical. So I wanted to create something myself, and the more I sat with it, the more I felt like if I go down this path, I would be going down this path because others encouraged me to. But my heart is telling me to go down this way, that this way is more exciting for me, that this way is going to be what I want. And that was the pivotal moment. That was the moment that I decided to discontinue studying for the CPA. I had to tell my family that, which was not easy. And I then started working for a mid-size accounting firm, knowing that I wanted to explore something else, and but just kind of went there with the intention of, let's just see what happens. Fast forward to now, because I don't want to go into like too many, but I have met multiple mentors along the way to enhance, cultivate, strengthen my intuitive abilities, my psychic abilities, my inner magic connection, and I have met many beautiful soul tribe people that I feel like get me, who I can talk to about all these things, who like just get it, and who are on similar journeys and exploring and growing, and I have worked multiple different jobs did the accounting stuff, and did audit there. And then I did some Uber Eats for a while as I moved to a different state. And then went into the finance, the banking realm to take a little bit of a break from accounting. And then went back to accounting and learned bookkeeping and payroll and some tax. and now I am in a manufacturing, I'm supporting a manufacturing company with accounting and HR. So it's a beautiful blended role, and I'm feeling so aligned to this role. And I feel aligned to the environment and the people that I get to work with and the way that I get to show up and support. So all of that to say, I honestly thought that I would be like full-time in my business by now. And there are days where I definitely feel like I beat myself up for not being further along. That has been a theme, a limiting belief, and some really disempowering things in my inner world that I've been experiencing. However, to be really, really honest with you, I'm learning how to enjoy the journey right now. I'm learning how to accept where I am, how to make the most of what it is, and what I'm really proud of right now is how I've learned to pivot and to choose something new and to take accountability for myself, for my life, and cultivate inner resilience. And I do have my business still on where I have offerings, magical offerings that I create whatever flows. And we're learning, we're letting it unfold, we are enjoying, we are finding the blessings, we are experiencing the full spectrum of this journey. And that's where I'm at right now. And I want to bring you along for the journey. I want you to, if you feel like you want to, if you feel called, if you feel aligned, then feel free to join me. Feel free to come along for the ride. And like I said, I am very passionate about sharing resources, and I may even create some how-tos. We're really just gonna flow with it. That I do have a podcast called the Inner Magic Podcast. I will have all my links down below, but also some ways that I'm currently available to support. If you watched all this and you're like, I really vibe with you, or I feel there's like something that I feel like I want to explore, or something that we have some fluffies here and one of them is playing, so if you're vibing with me, if you feel aligned to receive support from me, then I will have the links down below. But there are currently 3 ways that I am offering support, and honestly, like, these may change. Again, I run my business intuitively, and so when I feel called to pivot, I do. And like, not saying that as like a urgency thing, like buy now, limited time, but like genuinely, like, things will evolve, things will shift, things will, so just because if you see me like recording this and sharing like these are my 3 offerings, and then if you click on the link and things are different, I just wanted to give you a heads up that that's why. But for right now, what I do have available that's feeling aligned for me is I have Embrace Your Inner Magic, which is an hour and a half connecting. I guide you intuitively to connect with your own intuition, inner magic, inner knowing, higher self, insert whatever word you resonate with, to receive clarity, to receive the next steps, to receive a different perspective on a situation. This is a practice. This is part of my daily life. This is part of how I connect. I also connect a lot to my sacral. For those of you who are familiar with human design, and I will most likely be doing a whole video on human design and probably like blending like human design, gene keys, and all the beautiful things. But I connect a lot to my sacral, which is in the Hindu system a chakra, and in the human design system a center for that supports in decision making, and specifically through the lens of, do I have energy for this? So connecting to my inner magic, hearing messages directly from that space has been game changer for me, honestly. I started doing it 2-3 years ago, having people hold space for me, and through having these sessions and attending classes, and I have learned how to do it on my own, and so now I feel ready to support others in doing it, and I've already supported some clients and some close friends, and with all sorts of topics, with prosperity and abundance, with pregnancy and giving birth, with confidence, self-confidence, with business, it really with career path, with transitions. Like it's beautiful, and I have like a whole thing written out too that you can read on some ideas in some areas where this type of offering would be really supportive. If you have stuck around and you're still here listening to me talk, then I just want to say thank you. Thank you, and I'm looking forward to creating more content, more support, maybe even walking through some things, and sharing the journey, sharing the practices, sharing the modalities, sharing the people that I've connected with. Like really, I just love to share. I say sharing resources and connecting people to one another is like one of my love languages. So so thank you once again for tuning in to this magical space, and I hope that and drop comments down below too if you have something you want to share, or have any questions, or like things that you would like me to share on specifically. That would be really, really appreciated, so that I know too like what you're looking for and what would be supportive for you, so that I could show up and support. So I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day, evening, morning, wherever time zone you're in, and may you have many blessings and so much magic in your life, and may you experience so many moments of pure bliss. you.